Hi y'all, Bamadale here, aka Bike Lane Ins on Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. In order to keep my main video short, I'm uploading this video separately, which is an example of using CacheTur to plan out a GeoTour, specifically the Jack Trails GeoTour in Middle Tennessee. I hope you find this video informative. So I decided to give CacheTur a more advanced test by mapping out this GeoTour. So the first thing we want to do is go into CacheTur and we want to create a trip. Gonna call it Jack Trail GeoTour. We'll say it's a car trip. We'll say Middle Tennessee. I'm not sure that the dates matter at all. And I'm going to go ahead and save my trip. Okay, so we've got our trip. We've got no waypoints. If you watch my previous video, you know the first thing that you have to do is set your starting and your ending points. Okay, this GeoTour, if you click on one of these GeoTours, you'll notice you get a nice view of it, but you get kind of a non-standard map and a non-standard list here. You don't get any CacheTur integration in it. So what you're going to want to do is get the GeoTour into a list. I'm not going to show how to do that. I've already done that. But I'll leave it to you to figure out how to get it into a list. Now, the list is not the greatest thing. Let me show you what happens here. I'm going to go ahead and map this list. So here's the GeoTour. In fact, this is more than the GeoTour. See, that's the problem with this whole thing, is the list may show up one time, but then as soon as you change something on the map, zoom in, zoom out, it's going to rerun a search and your list is gone. So you've got to have a way to search for this in the normal map. Luckily, there's a prefix to all of these caches. So the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm just going to say the name contains the prefix, Jack Trail GeoTour. And let's see, it's giving me 48 right now. That seems a little low. Well, if I zoom out, it's giving me 66, so that's correct. All right, so I need to set my starting cache and my ending cache. So I'm kind of thinking, okay, I could go straight up into Fayetteville and tackle the east side of this thing, and then I could come back down Interstate 65 and, you know, after tackling the west side of the GeoTour. So I'm thinking right here is my starting cache. We're going to send that to CacheTur. And then over here in Pulaski, Tennessee, or Elkton. I didn't know there was one in Elkton. So there's one in Elkton, Tennessee. I'm going to set that as my ending cache. Okay, back to CacheTur. Refresh. And I've got my starting cache, my ending cache. Looks like there's some problems with those. But it doesn't matter for the purpose of just illustrating this. Okay, double click to set the insertion point. All right, now this is where your list comes in very handy. You know, otherwise you're gonna have to click, you're gonna have to go over to this map and click through all of these. But there's a handy shortcut here to import caches from a bookmark list. So it's gonna take everything in that bookmark list and it's gonna put them in the insert point. Now, of course, the two that I just selected, they are also in the bookmark list, but it's smart enough to know not to duplicate that. So, okay, it's already selected. I don't know how it knew which bookmark list, but I'm going to go ahead and import. And back to my GeoTour, back to my trip. Okay, and there's my trip. You see that we've got all of our caches for this GeoTour loaded into the trip. The next thing that we need to do is go to the sort and prioritize screen and ask it to optimize. So I choose the sort prioritize waypoints command. I toggle all marked, so that basically just selects all of the geocaches. I'm going to click this calculate and sort by optimal route button. And you'll see it's given me a pretty good looking routing there. So we will, all right, I need to save my sort and prioritization. This will automatically take us back to our trip. And then we need to ask it to calculate the detailed route. So from the Edit Trip menu, I choose Order a New Route Calculation. It's going to spend some time in that, and it'll give us a notification when it's ready. Okay, I've got my notification over here. I click on it. It's going to refresh my trip. Now, there's some interesting statistics here. Of course, you've got some information about the caches. 2 are disabled, 13 have needs maintenance, 25 have DNF logs, 12 of them have fines as the last logs, which means there's 13 caches that have DNFs as the last log. But this is really interesting here. Calculated driving time without stops, 10 hours and 35 minutes. And somehow it is estimating how much time we're going to spend at the caches. It's estimating it will take about 17 hours to complete this GeoTour. If you take a look at this, you hover over this, it says it uses a number of factors to estimate how much time it takes to find a cache. So apparently it's got some little formula that it applies to calculate how long it's going to take to find this roughly 65 caches in this GeoTour. But you can take a look at the route here. I don't like the way that this map works too much. So let's go back to Geocaching.com. I'm going to zoom out a bit, and then I'm going to refresh my tour. And there we have it. We get to see our detailed route now. And to me, this looks pretty doggone good. So we start out here. Of course, it's going to start at my starting cache. Pick up a few here, pick up some here. The only thing that looks maybe in the least bit suspect is maybe, is this the most optimum to go down, jog down here, get this, and go all the way back? If I zoom in, though, I see that there's no direct route across there. So yeah, it looks pretty doggone good. So I'm really pleased with that.